how to follow up after you submitted that application. I know. This is only the second day. You're waiting. They haven't emailed you back. They haven't called you back. Oh my God, the pressure is on. I don't even know what to do right now. So first off, the reason why we send multiple places and it's just not one dream job is this same reason. You want to keep your options open, right? In dating, I think as a guy, we're used to kind of doing things like this because we have to go out there. We have to kind of play the field and see who we actually work with, who we don't. We can't just jump in like, oh my God, I'm so in love with you because you're so beautiful. You got to actually go out on a date, talk to them, see if you match, see if she's even good enough for you. And then the more mature of us realize, oh wait, maybe we should talk to many girls and then see which ones actually connect instead of going for the prettiest one, right? And as we mature, we realize, okay, maybe it's not about just looks. Maybe it's about intelligence. Maybe it's about how nice they are. Maybe it's about how much you connect and how many similarities you have and how much they like you back. There's so much more to it, right? I think women are a little bit more emotionally intelligent and they mature way faster in this area than we do. But for me personally, that was my experience. But then I also apply this to the workplace because rejection sucks. And being in a position where I think traditionally as guys, we have to take the lead in that situation, right? You have to approach the girls, you have to ask them out, you have to, or it maybe in a lot of cases, we just aren't pretty enough to be approached by many women, right? So then if we're average guys, in most cases, we have to do the whole applying and asking and whatever. And I'm using these business terms because in real life, I don't say I'm applying for a girlfriend. I'm saying all this stuff because there's a huge similarity in the two. And being rejected just fucking sucks. So how do you avoid it? When you spread out your chances, right? And you have multiple places that might reject you, might accept you, that's the first step. Because it's the same way with like college, right? You apply to different universities. Some people just apply to one because that's all they want to get into. That's fine, but your real journey begins after you get accepted and then through the whole program and then you graduate. That's really the whole experience here. So it's the same thing in a business. You apply to many. You kind of wait. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. You got to psychologically remember like, hey, just because you got the job doesn't mean that you're going to keep the job, doesn't mean that you're going to like the job, doesn't mean that it's going to be the best time of your life. It might really suck. You just don't know yet. So don't let the mystery. So what I say is don't premature ejaculate. That's what I always tell Bart too. We always talk to each other about, hey, I got this thing coming up, but I can't premature ejaculate because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. Sometimes you hype it up so damn much that now it becomes something that's way too anxious to think about. And you're just sitting there like, oh my God, if I don't have this job, if I don't get this opportunity, my life is over. And we do this in dating as well. You go, oh my God, I want this girl so much. I want her to accept me. I want her to love me. But in reality, she might not even be the right one for you. But we get so far in our heads. We go, oh, she's so way out of our league. Oh no, I like her so much. And sometimes we end up scaring them away, right? And this is the same thing with a job. Like if you are freaking out, you sent your resume in, 3 hours later, you're like messaging them back and you're like, did you read it yet? Where are you at? You probably could have got the job, but they think you're nuts, right? You're like, you just wait one day and after a day later, you go, hey, I submitted my resume. Did you read it? Did you see the video? I'll call you back in a minute or whatever. That's what makes people go, oh, this person's a little weird and thirsty. And don't they have anything else going on in their lives because they're coming on a little too strong? And this is what we got to do. Like people say stay persistent, right? But what does that fucking mean? What does it mean? Persistence, showing that you're serious, all this stuff. It gets a little gray area because it's hard to really understand what that means. And a lot of us, we get really excited, which turns into desperation, which turns into thirst, obsession, all that weirdness. And we really take that as, hey, I'm being persistent. I'm trying my hardest, whatever. But really it turns into begging. And that's what we don't want to do because we're trying to solve our anxiety and waiting by begging. And that doesn't show you're a great worker or someone who really wants the job, that just shows like a little bit of weirdness, and that's going to make them run away from you. So how do you appropriately follow up on an application? Now, I'm not the one that really enjoys putting out blanket rules like, hey, wait 3 days before you text her or whatever, right? But in this case, I would wait several days before following up. Unlike a relationship, you're not trying to go back and forth and have long conversations. You're trying to get into an interview. To me, an interview is like dating. And getting the job is like really, really dating, or pretty much you're in a relationship overnight. So depending on how fast they need that role filled up and how busy they are, you really got to understand the whole situation. Is this company brand new and they're understaffed and they don't even have time to get to your resume? Because that's one of our problems when we first started. I had 200 resumes coming in every single day because everyone was like, I want to work for a dream company. I want to work for JK. I want to do film. I want to do this, right? But it got to the point where I stopped responding to resumes because that was taking hours to do, and we were understaffed. We didn't have anybody to sort through all that stuff. So what we ended up doing was hiring like friends of friends of friends who wanted to work, because it was just much easier to do that. So I wouldn't take it personally, because who knows? They just might be disorganized. They just might be like us, a startup that was crazy, busy, didn't know what they were doing, and didn't have the person on staff to read all the resumes. So my friend David had a personal assistant actually who submitted a resume to us, and I was telling him like, dude, she's awesome. I wish I had her on my team. And he's like, she did try to apply on your team. And I'm like, oh my God, so we lost that opportunity? So things like that happen all the time. And I think the best thing is keep trying. No matter what, follow up, keep trying. Don't take it personal. Get used to the rejection. It has nothing to do with who you are as a person, but it has everything to do with maybe the company situation. A lot of the times, the company might be going through so much bullshit that they just can't get through everything. And that's why when you go back and you follow up, you're giving them a healthy reminder. I know for a fact too, some companies, they don't even ask for an interview until some people follow up. They're waiting for a follow-up because that's how they weed out who's serious and who's not. And a lot of different companies have their own styles and methods of how they decide who to interview or not. Because like I said, if they're getting 200 emails every single day, they're like, I'm not gonna read all of them. So maybe I'll just only read the ones that follow up, which might be 10 out of those 200 people. And whenever I follow up with people, I don't go on a long conversation or I don't write them a novel. I just say, hey, just a friendly reminder. Wondering if you had a chance to read any of this stuff. Thanks. That's it, you know, like nothing like, hey, I've been waiting. This is my thing. I was like, don't do that. Please don't do that. It doesn't, no. That's too much reading. A lot of people don't like to read. A lot of people, they have a lot of shit on their plate. They don't want to do that. You got to remember, make things easy for people, because the basic rule of thumb is most people are lazy and they don't want to do that much work. The more information you give them, I guarantee you, the more they're going to cut it out. Because whenever I get resumes and it's like 3, 4, 5, 6 huge pages of nonstop text, I look at it like, I ain't got time to read all this shit. Skip. That's what literally happens. So you got to understand that in a lot of the cases, you don't want to overwhelm people with information. Get to the point way quicker than that. Be precise, get to the point, and communicate effectively. That's going to go way further than everyone else. But at the end of the day, I want you to not worry. I want you to chill out. This video was really about helping you feel some security and some A-OKs. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Let's just continue doing this. If you didn't get a call back yet, just keep going.